Hey guys, it's Nick from the Three Forks Church of Christ, and back for another one of these video devotionals. And I thought today we'd talk about the importance of good communication. A lot of things can result out of good communication. A lot of things can result out of bad communication. Starting with the bad first, a lot of troubles, even sometimes crises, can occur in people's lives just because people did not communicate well. Something was said that someone didn't intend to mean, yet someone heard something that wasn't intended to be. You know how this plays out. We don't always communicate very well. In the book of James, in chapter 1, James writes about the importance of being swift to hear and slow to speak, and also slow to wrath. He says specifically, "So then, my beloved brethren," this is James 1, verse 19, "let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." And of course, it's not always that bad communication will necessarily lead directly to someone's wrath, though it obviously can. It's the principle of being willing to communicate well, and James talks about a very important aspect of that here in the book of James chapter 1. The willingness to be swift to hear and slow to speak. It is often that we find ourselves listening to reply to someone rather than listening to hear what they actually have to say. We might listen because we're waiting for them to say something for us to jump on. We certainly see that a lot in our political atmosphere and on the news. This soundbite culture that we live in, we're waiting for someone to say something that we are going to take offense to and then jump on them for saying that, rather than listening with a desire to know what they have in mind or what they're trying to communicate. Now, of course, this applies to all of our relationships and applies to our relationship with God as well. James tells us, though, that we need to be swift to hear. And I believe what he means is to hear what is being said, so that we don't jump quickly to a false conclusion, or that we don't jump quickly to a state of offense where we shut down our willingness to communicate and then respond maybe in wrath or anger or something of the like. So swift to hear and then slow to speak. It seems like a simple, formula. Many of us growing up heard something along the lines that our parents told us, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you need to listen more than speak. But for some reason, we still struggle with that at times. And so I'd encourage me to listen to what James has to say here and be swift to hear and slow to speak. That it can improve our communication, whether it's with a spouse or our kids or our family, or on the job, or in our community, or on a ball team. It doesn't really matter. The principle still applies. So how can we take a step towards really, helping our communication? Just starts with taking our time and being willing not to be so anxious to speak that we don't hear people. A lot of times we could have a lot more in common with people than we realize if we just stop and listen. And so that's my encouragement to you. You want to encourage good, strong communication in your life. Be swift to hear and slow to speak. This is Nick Sekula from the Three Forks Church of Christ. I hope that you have a blessed day, and I hope to see you next time.